Hey everyone, this is Casual Fanatic.
Film reviews without the shoes.
I'm Luca, your casual viewer.
And I'm Cayman, your fanatic. How's it going, Luca?
I'm doing good. I just got off work. I've been having a good weekend, or week so far. I'm pretty busy with work, but hey, man, better busy than not. How about you?
About the same work-wise. I have about 1 week left on one project, and I just kicked off another, so no in-between time.
Yeah. Got to make the most of you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I went out snowboarding again this past weekend, and had a lot of fun. I went to Copper Mountain, which you and I have the Epic Pass, and it is not on the Epic Pass, so had to spend a bit of extra money for that. But it was worth it. Some friends came in from out of state. All of them had children, and children are sick and don't cover their mouths when they cough. So I got a little sick, which is why we're not recording together.
Yeah.
But the snowboarding was really cool, and the place we were staying at was really cool. There was a hot tub. It was a fancy ass place.
Yeah, you FaceTimed me a little bit, and I got to see some of the things. Pretty crazy. Big house.
Yeah. Huge.
And ski in, ski out, too. Forgot to mention that part.
Yep. It was literally right next to the base of the mountain.
That's so nice. Man, what it's like to be rich, you know?
For real. Yeah, especially, like, I want to say, like, at least 5 of the people that were there are doctors, so...
That's why.
No big deal for them.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But other than all those fun things, what are we talking about today? What are we doing?
So today we are going to be talking about the 2023 movie, The Creator, which was directed by Gareth Edwards, written by Gareth Edwards and Chris Weitz, and stars John David Washington, Gemma Chan, and Madeline Voiles. I don't know, Luca, if you recognize Gareth Edwards, but he also directed the 2014 Godzilla movie and Rogue One, which is one of the Star Wars movies.
I did not recognize that, no, but
okay,
that's pretty neat.
Yep. I mean, he's done other movies, but I feel like those are his most well-known ones.
Mm-hmm.
This movie had an estimated budget of $80 million, which is we'll get into details more later, but $80 million is insane. This movie looked like it cost 4 times that amount. It is just what they managed to do with such a small budget is wild. Unfortunately, it didn't really pay off for them. They only made $104 million.
Really?
So,
wow.
Yeah.
Dang, that's surprising, actually.
What did you think about The Creator?
Man, I liked it. I liked it a lot. I watched it 1.5 times. The half
what was the halftime for?
The half comes because I didn't start. Well, so I watched it one night by myself when KK was playing volleyball.
Yeah.
And then the other day when I was studying, I told her, like, hey, while I'm doing this, you go and watch the movie. And so when I finished up, I walked back out there and watched the end half of it.
Well, what did she think about it?
She said it was good. I think she gave it like a 3.25 or something like that. 3.5, 3.
Okay.
Something in there. 3, maybe. I don't know. I liked it more than her. I gave it a 4. Just because I mean, just the way it was shot. I liked the storyline. I liked the child actor. I don't know. There was not really many negatives that I personally had in the movie. So I applaud them for that. How about you? What'd you think of it?
I think I am probably closer to Kaylin's score on that one. I think for me, we'll get into the details later, but it felt like imagine if you got a gift and it had like absolutely immaculate wrapping paper, like the corners were folded perfectly and it had like a huge gorgeous bow on top. And you're like, wow, someone put a lot of love and effort into this. And then you open up the box and it's empty inside.
Really?
That's kind of what this movie felt like to me.
Damn.
And it's not like there wasn't anything going on. It just felt like the movie was pretending to say a lot more than it actually was saying, if that makes sense.
Interesting, yeah.
And like, I don't have a problem with purely visual movies. Like, I feel like the Avatar movies are also like that. People complain all the time. They're like, the story in Avatar is so boring. And it like, both Avatar 1 and 2, they're like, yeah, it's such a cliche story. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't really care about the story in Avatar. I watch the Avatar movies because they're fucking gorgeous. Like, I saw Avatar 2 in IMAX 3D, and it was one of the most beautiful movies I've ever seen. So it was so beautiful that it made up for what it lacked in story. And I feel like although this movie was very, very beautiful, the story was, I don't know. It just felt a little, I don't know how to describe it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I get where you're coming from with, I think you want to, I don't know. Yeah. The storyline itself is maybe, they could have changed it up just a wee bit regarding, I don't know. I don't want to spoil it just yet because we're not in the spoiler section, but I guess I see where you're coming from. I just chose to ignore it because I really liked the nature of the movie and how it, I don't know. I like it. I like that it was sad, but also happy and also had action in it. So I think that's like the thing that I enjoyed. Did it ever bring tears to your eyes?
There were some impactful moments. I don't know if I ever got to teary eye, but and this isn't necessarily a spoiler, so I guess I can mention this moment. But there is a moment early on where there is a robot that was in an explosion, and a team of people are like going into the explosion area to clear it out, and they find this robot, and it like wakes back up and is yelling about there was a kid that it was trying to protect, and it keeps saying like, where's Amy, where's Amy? That one was probably the closest that I got.
Wow.
But
way out of left field.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Cool. Yeah, I don't know. Just, I guess, different movie tastes in general. I know KK is like harder on her movies, and I mean, I think I am too. I just, maybe I liked it because it was very like, it felt realistic to how I view the military. If that makes sense. And I enjoyed the fact that someone actually put it down on paper and wasn't scared about repercussions that, you know, people could get. Like, the Americans are the bad guys. Americans are bad.
Well, I think on that note, I felt like I agree with you. It is nice to see a movie where it's not like sucking the military's dick the whole time, but it felt a little too far in the other direction where they were like, it wasn't like the military are bad guys. It's like the military are comic book villains. Like, they were almost too evil at some points.
Yeah, I can see that. But at the same time, they thought that they were just killing robots, or not even killing them, just turning them off.
And I would believe that, except that they like there are clear points where they are killing humans as well. And there's a point early on where one of them is like, it doesn't matter if it's a human or a robot, they're all our enemy.
Yeah, I get that. But then again, bro, we don't know what happens across seas. We don't know what actually goes down in the military. I believe that.
I'm not in the military. I don't have any family members in the military. So maybe they are that bad. I don't know. Drop a comment if you have experience with this.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and if you want to give our listeners a spoiler warning, we can start our summary.
Can do. It's been a while since we've done this one.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, theys and thems, this is the spoiler section. If you don't want the movie spoiled, don't listen.
Beautiful.
Well, now we can spoil everything we want.
Right. So this movie takes place in the near future. I don't know if they ever give us like an exact year.
I don't think they did. No.
But it's the world is there's like actual AI robots just like living amongst us. And at some point, again, I don't know if they ever give a year for it, but a nuclear bomb is set off in Los Angeles, which starts a war between at least the Western countries and what they're calling New Asia.
It is.
So they've outlawed AI in the West, and then this New Asia, I don't know if it's a country or like a conglomerate of countries, and they're just calling it New Asia, but they are supporting AI. We don't really hear anything about like Africa or Russia or anything like that, so I don't know. But right, and so this there's an undercover operative named, what's his name? Joshua. That's it. He's an undercover operative trying to find someone they call Nirmata, who is the person who, like, I guess, invented all of the robots. And he has shacked up with Maya, who is the creator's daughter, and they she ends up getting pregnant, and then there's this huge raid, and she finds out that he's an undercover operative and tries to leave, but then there's this giant like spaceship / satellite / surveillance thing called Nomad that drops a big bomb and kills Maya and all of the people that were with her. And so for the next 5 years, Joshua, he like quits the military and he's like, fuck you guys, I don't give a fuck because you killed my wife. My wife. Then one of the military people comes to see him and shows him a hologram that his wife is actually still alive, and is like, hey, if you come back with us, we can make sure to get her out. And Nirmata has created a new weapon that is going to win the war for them. So we need you to help us get rid of that weapon, and then we can also save your wife. And so he's like, I don't really care about this whole weapon thing, but if you're telling me my wife's alive, yeah, I'm definitely coming with you.
Yeah.
Gets over there, and it pretty much immediately goes haywire. Like his team, I think all but 2 of them end up dying. And then they find this facility and get to the like inner sanctum or whatever, and he discovers that this ultimate weapon is a little robot child. The during the, like, someone attacks him and the kid escapes. And so he's like, whatever, and he leaves, but then the kid starts following him for some reason. And then at one point, like, draws a shape that is the same as a tattoo that was on Maya's back. And so now Joshua's convinced that this robot child is the only way he's going to find his wife.
Yeah.
And so sort of like helps her escape from the people that he was working with previously, but obviously they want to kill the kid because she's a weapon. So helps her escape, and then runs into one of his old colleagues from when he was undercover. That person obviously doesn't trust him, but then he manages to like sneak his way into one of their bases. And there's a whole lot of action scenes I'm skipping over, but like I'm not going to sit here and describe people shooting each other. Gets to their base, and then Joshua ends up saving the kid from one of the military people, which convinces his old undercover friend that he's on their side now.
Yeah.
So then they go to a different base, and that is where they find it turns out that technically Maya is alive, but she's like been in a coma since the explosion. And because all of the people in charge there are robots, and they're like, we find out that Maya is Nirmata, not her father. And because she created all the robots, they are like not allowed to harm her, or maybe they're just choosing not to harm her. I don't know if it's like built into their programming or just a philosophy thing. So she's just been on life support for 5 years, I guess, but the robots can't take her off. So then, Joshua manages to, says goodbye and then unplugs her. Military people show up, make a whole mess of that situation as well.
Yeah.
But then Joshua and the kid, who he ends up naming Alfie, Alfie and Joshua get captured and taken back to some military base.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to like shut Alfie off, but then one of the generals or colonels or whatever is like, hey, we need you to do it because she trusts you and she won't let the rest of us get close. And so he goes in there with the little like EMP gun, but then like secretly whispers to her that they're just going to pretend to turn her off. So then later when they're being transported to a different place where they're going to incinerate her, she wakes back up because she has this power where she can like remote control electronic things around her. And so like while they're being taken to the other place, she like shuts down the car that they're in, which causes it to crash. And then she can like do all this other stuff. And they sneak into an airport, which she also uses her powers to like get through security. And they get a shuttle to go up to the Nomad station, where she is able to shut it down, basically. And there are like, they launch a couple bombs, and it's like this whole timed sequence thing. And it's like Nomad is shooting missiles, and Joshua has set an explosive to blow up the station. And then Alfie is like shutting things down so they can't defend themselves. And it's this whole big thing, and ends up like right on time, stopping the attack so that all of the missiles just kind of like thud into the ground.
Well, one does explode.
Okay. Yeah. One does explode. I forgot about that. And then, while they're trying to escape the station, they get attacked by I don't even know really what it was. It looked like some sort of weird mechanical octopus thing.
Yeah. It was like from Spider-Man, that guy with the tentacle legs and arms.
And then it like somehow fucks up the escape pod so they can't open the door anymore. So Alfie is inside and Joshua is outside. And he's like, whatever, you need to leave, because he like loves her now, because he found out that like she was designed based off of the fetus from his dead pregnant wife. So it's like not really his child, but like based on his child.
Yeah.
And so sends her off in an escape pod, and then manages to like last second reunite, because the military person earlier, before they killed, or I guess right after he unplugged Maya, the military has this thing where they can like scan someone's brain right after they die and put it on a chip, and then plug that chip into a different robot so they can still talk to him. And the like main bad guy lady managed to get a chip of Maya right after she was unplugged. So while the station is exploding, he runs into, because Alfie earlier had found another robot that looked like Maya and put the chip in. And so now there's like the station's falling apart, and Joshua reunites with his wife for like 10 seconds before they explode.
Yeah. Then the station falls out of the sky, and Alfie's down on the ground, smiling, laughing, and then the movie ends.
Yep.
Oh, that was a really good summary. Good for you.
Thank you. I was worried I wasn't going to be able to remember it, but managed to get through it.
All came back to you.
Let's take a quick break and then we'll come back.
Oh, yeah, let's do that. And we're back. Speaking of the tentacle legs, because we just got to start somewhere talking about some things. That's the one thing in this movie that I just did not enjoy. The spider robot hands is what I called them.
Spider robot hands.
I mean, it was just kind of like I guess I get why they did it, but they could have also just made the hatch, jam. I don't know. It just didn't fit in with any of the other tech they had.
Yeah, it
showed
also
throughout
just
the whole movie.
It didn't really make sense, like where it came from or like who was controlling it. I don't know if maybe I just missed something, but I was like, "What? How did this happen?"
Yeah, it was the home base, and the general colonel guy was like, "Kill these bastards," and they had like a remote controlled robot that they could control remotely by hand or by like the joystick, and that's when it came down from the ceiling somewhere, and they were the ones controlling it. But then Alfie took control of it, and yeah, I don't know where it went after that. Just died or fell, something.
Also want to mention that the actress who plays Alfie, Madeline Voiles, this is the only movie she's been in. I know you mentioned earlier that you really liked her character, and I 100% agree. I think she did maybe the best job in the whole movie, which is extremely impressive for being her first movie and the fact that she is a child. Like, I think she was, I want to say like 14 or 15 when they filmed this.
Really? Wow, she killed it. She absolutely killed it. Yeah. I agree with you. I think she was one of the best actresses or actors in the movie.
Yeah.
Well, what did you think about the movie having chapters?
I thought that it was interesting in the beginning. Like, I felt like the first two kind of made sense. And then after that, it felt like they were just like trying to make chapters happen when they didn't need to.
Gotcha. Yeah. I only honestly noticed them at the start. I think the last one that I noticed was like the child or something like that. And then I don't know.
I want to say there was like 5 of them.
Interesting. Yeah, I think it was a cool concept. I get it.
Yeah.
It didn't really like annoy me or anything like that, but
No, it didn't annoy me. It just like, it didn't feel, I guess it didn't feel necessary. Like it felt like just a, like, I feel like, cause there are some movies that do chapters and it'll be like frickin' the, what was it? The Last Duel has 3 chapters because each chapter is from a different character's perspective.
right. Which makes sense.
And I felt like this one, there wasn't really a reason for the chapters. Like it was still just following the same story the whole time.
Yeah, I can see that. Maybe it was just like an introduction more in depth of the character, or
It was just a way to give the audience a place to be like, okay, I'll pause it here and go take a bathroom break.
true. Yeah.
I did really like at the beginning, the movie starts off with like old timey footage of robots that like look like they're from like the 70s, and then it like very quickly changes to like modern day robots and then goes even further. And then it's like the transition from this like world of tomorrow kind of thing to all of a sudden the fucking bomb going off. Very strong way to start the movie, I think.
Yeah. I agree. I did enjoy that. It honestly made me start thinking about like, wow, you know, like back then they were really pushing this like robot narrative because they finally got the tech to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And I feel like nowadays the public isn't really as into robots, but then again, everything that we have is a robot, technically speaking. Like we have Roombas going around, you know, vacuuming for us.
I don't have a Roomba, but
Some people have Roombas.
people with money have Roombas.
Yes. But I don't know. It's not like as big of a thing as it was back in the, you know, the 70s, 80s. But
I think there's also like, I remember, what was it, in 2012, I think, is when they started making waves with the Boston Dynamics. Do you remember those?
No, I do not.
There's a company called Boston Dynamics that is like hardcore into robotics, and you've probably seen their videos and just didn't notice, but they have like those walking robots and like the robot dogs, and there was videos of like people poking them with hockey sticks and stuff to make sure they can balance.
Yeah, I've seen those. And like the one that like does a backflip.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So those people are still going real hard, but I think they're more focused on the mechanical parts, like the body versus like actual artificial intelligence.
Right.
Like their robotics are like, can we make this thing stand up?
Yeah. I guess AI is kind of a robot too. Yeah. Huh. Interesting.
I think that Joshua is maybe one of the dumbest characters.
Oh, what makes you say that?
Not dumb in a narrative sense. Like he's an actual dumb person. Like, first of all, he is like loud during the attack scene in the beginning, just loudly talking on the walkie-talkie about being an undercover operative.
True.
While his wife is right upstairs. Like, doesn't make any effort to keep it a secret. Like, at first he's like, shh, be quiet. And then he gets the walkie-talkie and he's like, no, you have to stop the attack. I'm undercover. And I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up.
That's fair. That is so true. And he knew that his wife was only going upstairs for a little bit. Like,
and then later he knows that the wedding ring has a tracker in it, and he just carries it with him throughout the whole movie. And then it's like, acts confused when the military shows up everywhere that he is. And it's like, bro, you're the reason they're showing up is because they can track you.
and the robots even said that. They even told him.
Yeah.
They were like, they're tracking you to get to Nevada.
Yep.
Oh,
He's a dummy. He's a big old dummy.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. I don't know.
Going back, I have a question, but I'm going to say something first, and then I'll ask my question.
Okay.
Going back to the scene I mentioned earlier with when they're clearing out the bomb site in LA, and they wake up the robot that's yelling about the child, and then the person that he's working with gets like really shocked by how emotional this robot is being. I don't know if you noticed this, but that woman clearly said "what the fuck," but then they ADR'd it for her to say "what the hell" instead.
Really? I did not notice that.
I saw her mouth say the word "fuck," but the audio was "what the hell," and I was like, "You sneaky bastards!"
Oh, that's weird.
And I wonder, like, because obviously this movie is PG-13. Like, I wonder if there is, like, if it was originally intended to be R, or if, like, who knows, maybe there's an R-rated, like, director's cut or something. I don't know. But yeah, it just was something that's a little interesting. But my question was, because I mentioned that was the most emotional moment for me, I would like to know what was the most emotional moment for you.
For me, it was either when they're saying goodbye to the mom, or when Joshua is saying goodbye to the kid.
Okay,
through the window.
Those are good moments.
Yeah. It was a touching moment when Joshua met Maya, and they actually like hugged and kissed because he was able to hold her again one last time. I thought that was sweet as well. So like those three were definitely the most emotional for me. I know KK at one point, she had one, I don't remember exactly what it was because she just told me about it, but it was not what I was expecting at all. Oh, I think one of them was like, she was really sad when that robot blew up in the house, in the apartment building.
In the factory, the like,
yeah,
pretty lady robot.
Yeah. She was upset that she blew up, but I don't remember exactly what the emotional part was for her, but it was something that I did not think was emotional. But yeah, no, those were the top three for me.
Maybe the nurturing, like she was just trying to get ice cream for this child and now she's dead.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. Speaking of blowing up, though, one of the cool moments is those bomb boys, those run-in bomb boys. Those were sick.
Those were so stupid.
Those
were like straight out of Star Wars, bro. That was R2D2.
Nah, fam, I loved those.
R2D2 with legs.
And the robot goes, "It's been a pleasure serving you, ma'am," and then just fucking bolts across this bridge. I was like, hell yeah.
It was so dumb. I hated that.
No, I loved that.
It was so stupid. And the second one did it too, and then the kid stopped it, and then it still blew up. The fact that the robot was like, "It's been a pleasure serving you," and then she yelled at the robot to just leave and go. I thought that like it shows really well how much of a dick she was throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, she was honestly, I think her character especially was like so corny. Like there was one time when she when she did the whole head brain chip thing on one of the other dead soldiers.
Yeah, and then
there's like, "Where did he go?" And then she goes, like right after he dies, she goes, "I'll see you in Valhalla." And I'm like, what a fucking douche.
Yep.
Like, who says that?
Yep. Military people, bro. I'm telling you. This movie, when KK was watching it, she was like starting to hate the Americans.
Well, yeah, and that's the other thing. So I guess to explain my point a little better, I feel like this movie would have, because Joshua, his character in the beginning is like on the military side, is like, "No, we're not killing anyone. We're just turning them off. They're not real people. None of this is real, blah, blah, blah." Doesn't care about the robots at all. And then obviously by the end, he changes his mind.
Right.
And I feel like for this movie to have been more successful, in my opinion, the audience should take that journey with the main character. We should be going through these emotions together and being like, oh yeah, now I'm starting to see the humanity in these robots. But from second one of the film,
From the get-go, we
already know what's going on. And so then we just have to watch this dumbass character figure out something that we already know.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, because like right from get-go, we were already on the robot sides, and
right.
The Americans were just
they made it very clear the
understand.
robots are good guys and the military are bad guys, and there was never any question about that for us. So then it felt absolutely stupid that it had to be a question for the characters.
Damn, yeah, that's true. I didn't think of that one. Yeah,
And
that makes it
also,
pretty dumb.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And also brings up a question is if he truly thinks that they're just machines and he doesn't care about them, why did he hesitate to shoot the kid when he first found her? Like, I feel like he could have just walked into that room and just point blank shot the kid and been like, oh, well, I guess my job's done.
No,
like
I think
he stopped and like let her go for some reason.
Yeah, I think it's because he'd never seen a kid robot before, and I think that like
they
took
do
him back.
bring that up. So I guess you're right, because even other people are like, oh, they're making children ones now. So maybe a kid robot is a new thing.
Yeah, they said they'd never been able to do that before.
Still weird.
I mean, yeah, true. I feel like I would have just shot through the back of the chair
Right.
right when I walked in and not like creeped around the corner.
You're like, all right, mission over.
Yeah. But also like really strange that they kept the kid in such a facility.
I guess I don't know what the purpose of that was other than it's like really deep underground, so harder to find.
Yeah. And I also feel like it was way too easy for them to access the vault.
Oh, just turning that little statue thing?
Well,
Or you mean like the inside the vault when they had the little like number scrambler thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, because like even like because that takes a while, right? You have to run through all the different possible codes and algorithms.
Yeah.
Even with Teams Messenger, the code changes like every 30 seconds, right? So there's no way for you to run one of those little algorithm thingies. I don't know. It was like, I was like, this is such a big secure facility run by scientists, and like robots are also involved. Like they could have done something better than that, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like it was the easiest heist ever. And then there was an escape hatch that went into the main chamber that they were trying to keep safe. And I'm like, well, what if they found that? You know, it's like then they're already in the heart of the chamber, and then what?
And then what?
Then what? They got the kid.
No, you're right. They also, this is a little bit more minor of a nitpick, but they had a really mediocre use of Everything in Its Right Place by Radiohead. I felt like when that song came on, I was like, oh, this might be interesting. And then it stopped like 4 seconds later, and I was like, what was that?
I agree. And at the very end of the movie, Claire de Lune played.
Yeah.
It really made me think.
Yeah, that's a thinking man song.
Yeah, they really got me with that one, because Claire de Lune is my favorite piano piece. And
oh, really?
Yeah. And they played that, and I was like, ooh, very nice.
I can hear, I don't remember the name of my favorite piano piece, but I can hear it in my head right now. It's by Chopin.
Sing it.
I don't remember which one it is.
Sing it for me.
I will not.
Fine.
Maybe if my throat didn't hurt currently.
Oh yeah, true.
Oh, another cool moment was the I guess multiple cool moments, but the the Nomad laser was pretty sick, especially like in that opening scene with it like rolling over the mountains. I was like, that's fucking dope, dude.
Yeah, that's true. That was a pretty good scene. Another scene, I think, one of these is actually where KK got emotional. I think the kid asked, like, am I going to heaven or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
And there's one part also in the movie, separate from this one, where it's like, are you going to heaven? And it was like, no. And then it was like, he was like, you have to be a good person to go to heaven. And then I think at one point, the child was like, so we're the same, because the child can't go to heaven because she's a robot, and he can't go to heaven because,
Yeah, she says, we're both not going to heaven because you're not good and I'm not a person.
Yeah, that. And I was like, damn. I think it's just crazy for a kid to say stuff like that, you know?
Yeah. There were a couple moments, I will say, again, the actor that played Alfie, she did a fucking amazing job. I guess this is more of a writing thing, but it felt a little cheesy when the robot lady was like, oh, I'm going to grab a snack. What do you want? And she goes, for robots to be free. And I was like, girl, shut the fuck up.
I mean, it's in her coding, you know? It's like, that's the only reason that she doesn't hate humans is because Maya was the one who like programmed her to love everyone and just want freedom. And she said that at the beginning of the movie too. She was like, I want this war to be over and for everyone to just be free and love each other, something like that. I don't know exactly what it was, but
I don't know his name, but Ken Watanabe's character said the same thing, where when after he captured Joshua, he was like, do you know what would happen if we won this war? Nothing, because all we want to do is live in peace.
Right. Right. And then you find out like mid-movie that the atomic bomb that started the war was actually a human error and they're just covering their own asses. And I'm like, that is such a human thing to do, bro.
It is kind of silly, but also I feel like that's such a throwaway line. Like, I feel like that should be more of an important part of the story. But it's like he says it once and then it never gets mentioned again.
That's true. Yeah. It should have been brought up later with that fucking colonel. I wish he would have died.
Yeah, that's wild.
And that is one thing about this movie too, is that like most of the characters that you know well and get into die. Which is again so interesting for a movie. Like, I don't know. I feel like most American movies just don't do that. And maybe it's getting more popular nowadays because we've had like 2 or 3 now that we've reviewed that are like that. But maybe it's just because we're picking good movies.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess there are a lot of characters that die, but also there aren't a whole lot of characters that get like a lot of development.
That's
like,
fair. Yeah, true.
Like, I mean, like Maya dies in the beginning, so that's easy.
She dies twice.
Alfie survives. Yeah, that's true. She dies twice. Alfie survives. Joshua survives until the very end. So, like, I don't know how much that counts.
I mean, it still sucks because, like, the movie ends and one of the main characters that was with you the whole movie dies, like, a minute
it's like a
before the
heroic
movie
sacrifice thing.
Yeah, but still, you wish he would have survived and been with a kid and all that stuff, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
You know, it'd been really cool if like he had scanned his brain and had his wife's chip as well, and gave both of those to Alfie, and then Alfie like, you know, leaves and then plugs him in with his wife into a robot down below so they can be like a little robot family.
I wonder if, because I don't know if it's possible to scan a living person. I guess I don't know why it wouldn't be, but like we only ever see them scan dead people.
Well, shit, kill him and then scan. I mean, if he knows he's gonna die, that would have been a good genius thing to do right there at the end.
Yeah.
I don't know. I will say, I feel like one of the more gruesome parts of the movie actually happened at the very beginning when it was that asshole military dude. And they were trying to get into the facility and they were like, oh, well, you need to it's a face scan only. And he goes, okay. And he like lifts up one of the workers and like pulls out a knife and like starts cutting the face off. I'm like,
that's what I'm saying with the like cartoon villain thing. Like, I feel like I'm sure people in the military have done bad stuff. I don't know if people are that callous. That feels a little over the top.
I don't know, man. I feel like if you see it in like spy movies all the time where it's like fingerprints and stuff and they cut off their hand or their finger. I feel like that's pretty common.
Spies and soldiers are different things.
Yeah. How different? One lives in the dark, one's in the spotlight.
I don't know. It felt a little too much for me.
Yeah, it was a lot.
And it would be different if he was like, well, this is what we have to do. But he was like joking about it. Like they were like, oh, it's a face scan. And he's like, I guess all I need is a face then. And I'm like, dude.
Yeah. I think that was definitely one of the more brutal parts for me personally. I'm looking over my notes and honestly, I don't have very much more, but I will say again, my likings in movies is when I really feel immersed in the surroundings. And I will say, for this movie, I did not really feel that.
Okay.
They had great visuals. They had like great exterior shots, which kind of made me feel like 2001 A Space Odyssey kind of vibe, at least when they were in space, which I thought was really cool. I think the designs of all the spacecrafts were really neat. But like shots, beautiful, but immersive enough for me? Not quite.
I think I wasn't super immersed when like the actual like actors were doing things, but every time they had like establishing shots and there was like, I don't know, just like footage of just like one of those villages and there's just like people and robots just walking around. And it was like when it was just shots of stuff happening, but it wasn't part of the story. I feel like those moments were more immersive for me.
They were successful for sure. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. I just think it was also really funny that Nirvana or Maya was on like some mountaintop in like this giant metal ore building. And apparently they could never find that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's like cloaked with something. I don't know. I mean, I guess they can't just scan like the entire continent. So
why not, bro? Google Earth does it. What do you mean? We have satellites taking pictures all the time.
Easy to take. It's different taking photos than like running the little laser over the ground.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. They should just get a better laser then. What the hell? Get more of those ships.
They said it cost like trillions of dollars.
That's true. That's true. I did. Yeah. I don't know. I did wonder how that thing worked, but obviously they're not going to answer all that stuff for me.
I have another, I guess, more minor thing, but it is something that kind of irritated me specifically. Is there is a moment, I don't even remember specifically. Oh, it's when Joshua is sneaking in to one of the little huts and Alfie is like sleeping in a hammock with Ken Watanabe's character.
Yeah.
I wish I could remember his name. I guess I could just look on IMDb. But they're laying in the hammock and he walks in and like gives her like puts his finger over his mouth like telling her to be quiet. But the way he puts his finger over his mouth irritates the actual shit out of me. And it immediately reminded me it's the same way that John Krasinski does the like hush finger in A Quiet Place. And I remember when I watched that movie, it irritated the shit out of me too.
I've never even
we can't see each other, so I can't show you, but I'll put it on the camera so the audience can see. But like normally when you like tell someone to be quiet, you put your finger over your mouth like this, where like your actual finger is over your mouth. But he did it like this, putting like his knuckle over his mouth, and then his finger is like halfway up into his eyeball. And I'm like, no one does that. That's the stupidest shush mouth. It pissed me off.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I might after we're done recording, I might have to call you and show you because
I'm like,
it's like,
what do I even Google? What do I even Google to find this? Like, interesting. That's a very specific thing to get annoyed at.
Yep. I don't know. I don't know why it pisses me off so much, but it angers me.
I can tell. I'll never do whatever that is near you. But yeah, I mean, I'm through with my notes.
Let me double check real quick. I think I am too.
I will say there were 2 comedy moments in the movie. One was when the dog picked up the bomb and like ran it outside back to the robots that threw it, and like as if it's like playing fetch.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
And 2 is when one of the robots threw one of those sticky bombs on the big old tank, died, and then the monkey picked up, a monkey randomly was there, picked up the controller and blew it up. I think those are
also, I guess like, one more thing is in the beginning when the lady soldier gets the sticky bomb on her back.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And then she's in the helicopter or I guess it's not a helicopter, but some flying vehicle that they have, and they're flying away, and then it starts beeping. And honestly, they had already been so cartoonishly evil up to that point. I half expected them. I definitely thought they were just going to throw her out.
I mean, that's what I was expecting too. Yeah. That's what I would have done. Shit. Or she should have just sacrificed herself, for the squad.
I thought they were going to be like, sorry, and then just push her. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I'm surprised that I feel like it was just like on a little backpack, like just take the backpack off, bruh.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, the same thing happened to the like main bad guy at the end too. It's just a sticky bomb, and then it feels kind of silly that it's literally the exact same thing with the sticky bomb, and then she's like, get it off, and they like can't get this thing off of her, and I'm like, hey, just take your shirt off or something. I don't know, like your stuff can't be that hard to get out of.
True. I'm right there with you.
All right. Well, then I guess we'll move on to trivia.
Let's do it.
Not a whole lot for this one. But I found a piece that actually leads into, I have the trivia piece from IMDb here, but then I also have some extra knowledge from other stuff that I saw that I'll be adding on to this. But this says many of the supporting performers and background actors in the film were from near where the shooting was taking place. In Nepal, people from a little town by the Buddhist temple were used as actors.
Oh, cool.
Gareth Edwards said some of the kids agreed to shave their heads and play some of the robot monks. It was kind of surreal. They all got really excited about being in a Hollywood movie. So one of the ways that they saved money was instead of, and the rest of the information I'm getting here actually was watching. There's a YouTube channel called Corridor Digital. They review special effects in movies, and they had an episode where they had Gareth Edwards talking with them about the special effects and the creator. And one of the ways that they saved money was rather than he was talking about rather than having green screens and sets and building all of this stuff, he said with a small enough crew, it's actually just cheaper to travel. Like if you want like a small village in Thailand, you can spend $100 million building it and shooting it in Hollywood, or you can just buy like 20 plane tickets to Thailand.
True. Yeah. 20 grand. Then the whole crew is in Thailand. And then, I mean, I guess the hard part is shutting the city down. Or whatever areas
but that's the other thing is they didn't have to shut the city down. They were just using the people that lived there were just in the movie. And so that's another thing is instead of doing like, I'm sure you know what mocap suits look like, right? They have like little gray and black triangles, and like sometimes they have little like dots all over them.
Yeah.
They used to have like bigger ones like that look like ping pong balls, but newer ones don't need those big ones on there. But yeah, that's another thing is instead of doing mocap for the robots, they just trusted ILM, which is Industrial Lights and Magic, which is like the most experienced visual effects company maybe ever. But they went to ILM and they were like, what if you just make people robots. And so
Hear me
they
out.
didn't like, they're like, we're not going to have any mocap suits. We're not going to put anything on people. We're just going to film everyone as just normal humans as they are. And so then they trusted ILM to be able to do the visual effects part, but then also that let them choose later instead of having like, because if you're on set and you have like 3 actors and then 2 more people in mocap suits, the people in the suits have to be the robots. But if you have just a room of 5 people, then later when you're looking at it, you can be like, okay, actually, I want these 2 people to be the robots.
Yeah. Oh, that's
And
genius.
so they pretty much just film everything with just normal people, and then later went back and said, okay, this person and this person are going to be robots.
Wow, that's really cool. That's super smart.
Yeah, and a lot of the we'll call them textural shots, but the stuff of like just like villagers, like one of these specific shots that I remember them calling out in the corridor video was there's a quick shot of like a robot handing a chocolate bar to a child. And Gareth Edwards said that wasn't like scripted or planned at all. Like they were just walking around the village filming people living their lives, and they caught a moment of an old woman giving a chocolate bar to a kid, and they just used that shot and turned the old woman into a robot.
What? That's so sick. Oh wow. That's genius. That's like a like a sustainability kind of win right there. I feel like it's so sustainable. You just go there, film, and then later on post-production go and edit whatever you need to edit.
Definitely like, I'm sure it wasn't easy. Like there's a reason people use mocap suits, but if anyone can do it, ILM can do it.
Yeah, but the only thing that you were really changing was like the kind of back area of the head, which I feel like is easy enough to.
Yeah, that's true. It really was, well, except for like the fully robot characters, because there was a difference, because there was like the simulants that were like look like humans except for the back of their head, and then there were some characters that were like full on robots.
Yeah, but I mean, if they're full on robots, then you just track where their hands and legs and arms and all the joints are, and then you just fill in with a robot, right? I mean, I can do that.
Is it way easier said than done?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. But again, these guys are super experienced, get paid millions and millions of dollars, and have the highest tech ever. So,
yeah, I have no idea how they did it, because that's part of what those motion capture suits are for, is for tracking, so that your digital thing moves the same way that the real person did. Because otherwise, it like having to do that by hand is a lot of work.
Right. Damn.
But yeah, so I'm not sure how much of their $80 million budget went to ILM, but I'm sure that was probably the bulk of that budget.
I mean,
that's how they got away with not spending a whole lot of money on it.
I mean, I will say it was good. The CGI was great. I had no issues with it. Very cool.
But yeah, that is our only piece of trivia.
Awesome. It was a good one.
So I guess now we are going to get wrecked.
Let's do it. Do you already have one?
I do. Do you not?
I do. I just need to find the name.
Okay, I'll go first. I know I have previously, probably within the past episode or so, wrecked the show Severance on Apple TV Plus. Great show. But this time I'm going to have my recommendation be, there is a companion podcast where Ben Stiller and Adam Scott talk about each episode. So before season 2 came out, like late last year, they went through and did an episode of the podcast for each episode of season 1. But now week to week, they have an episode of the podcast that comes out every time an episode of the show comes out. Huh. So If you'd like to, hear a little bit more of the behind the scenes stuff and like get to know the thoughts of the writers and actors and guests and all sorts of stuff. Cool podcast. So check that out.
Oh, that's sick. Alrighty, well, for mine, it is actually, I'm plugging someone else. It's an Instagram account called stealth_health_life. And basically it says here that it's indulgent and nostalgic foods made healthier. And then there's also a frozen foods on there. I'm telling you, KK and I, we meal prepped for a few burritos. We made some burritos and they are gas. They're so good. So if you guys like meal prepping or you just like good meals, highly recommend you going on this Instagram account. Super fast videos. It makes the food look delicious. And in the comments or in the description, there's also like ingredients, and he goes over real fast how to make the foods. Highly recommend. I've done it twice now.
What was that Instagram account again?
It's called Health. Oh, sorry. It's called Stealth_health_life.
Gotcha.
And he's got 3.5 million followers. Worth giving that guy a follow and making some of his recipes.
I think I've seen some of his stuff before because I recognize his face, but I usually just skip past people making food.
yeah. I mean, I do too usually, but I know, like, when I first moved to Denver and I was in work, I really wanted to like meal prep at least once.
Yeah.
And I just made some burritos and I put them straight in the freezer, and I cannot tell you, they, even after like a week or two frozen, longer than that, they hold. They're so good. So
nice.
Yeah, we did that, and we're probably going to make some more here at one point. But yeah, that's my rec.
Cool. Let me cough a little bit more, and then we'll move on. Good Lord. I made it through most of the episode. All right. Well, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and tell your friends and family about us. If you're watching us on YouTube, give us a thumbs up and hit the bell icon. Otherwise, leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. You can also follow us on Bluesky and Instagram at CashFanPod. If you want to send us a message, you can DM us, leave a comment, or send an email to casualfanaticpodcast@gmail.com. Links for all of those will be in the description. And Luca, why don't you tell them what kind of messages they can send us?
They can send us anything from likes and dislikes on the podcast, recommendations of movies that you would like us to go over. You can send us certain little sections that you like that we're displaying here on the movie, on the podcast. Sorry, dogs noises behind me. But yeah, anything like that. Any recommendations or things that you would like us to add or include, or even any comments that you have. We would like to throw those out there to the other listeners we've got, and just make this a little bit more interactive with our followers.
All right. And on that note, this has been Casual Fanatic. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.